Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Another watch list here from me, myself, and I. For some reason, I've got some issues here with DAS showing daily charts. So I can't really do a proper review. Some stuff is working, but some stuff is missing like a couple months of data for some reason, like this. Like we've got February and then it goes to October. I've tried resetting it and whatnot. It shows it fine on like an intradaily. Um, but yeah, for some reason, these daily charts are like, I don't even know what's going on with these. So I'll do my best here with going over like a longer term, like a 60-minute or something. But there's not much I can do here with it. I'll be looking at daily charts on like a Finviz or something like that. But as far as my charts here are concerned, there's not much I can do with these DAS ones. But so I will start off with the liquidity traps. We had NMD, I think it was. Let's see if this daily works. Yeah. It stuffed immediately right off that 280 looking left level that I wanted to see if it could break and build over. It immediately stuffed, so was no reason for me to watch that one. What I did get caught in was SOPA today. I had bought the opening range break. It gets some attention there in pre-market. It's holding up right near its highs, breaking over prior day's highs, and then holding, sets a top, consolidates for 3 or 4 minutes, and I bought through the highs and didn't get filled for a few cents. I just hit my hotkey, so it just kind of fills me at whatever the ask is. And then I had a stop at low a day. None of the stops triggered. A few of my friends were in this, and no one's stops triggered through the lows. So I got filled on the resumption and took about a 2.5 hour, almost a 3 hour loss on this one. So unfortunately, with the amount of slippage, but it is what it is. That's the risk. I had made a joke because I haven't been caught in a halt in a long time. And in one of my chats with my friends, I was like, it was fun, for old time's sake. So that was that one. A bit unfortunate the way it played out, but it is what it is. DVLT more than made up for it, made about 4R on this one. So obviously turned a monster day into a so-so day. But we got exactly what I was looking for. Played out very similarly to over here. Again, I would love to show the daily charts, but you'll have to use your imagination. But we had this multi-day run. It closed fairly weak. But then we got the gap up and shove into prior day's resistance before pulling back. So given the hard crack and lower highs, but the recent history of this stock in particular, I felt like it favored a gap up and a possible shove into looking left. So I put a starter on in pre-market using prior day's highs, was like very small, less than an R. This one here was probably up to 1R off of $3. But we finally got that little shove that I was looking for, and then wanted to see, if you recall from the watch list, I wanted to see that 280s act as a peak, and it touched it in pre-market and never saw higher. So then once we get that hard crack, I'm starting to lean pops versus VWAP. I was sitting on all the offers, looking for it to fail to follow through. We did get a push. There was nothing saying that this had to fail. So at this point, once I added here, I moved risk down to that 280 pre-market high level. It did double top at high a day, so now I've got confirmation. Once I break the opening range lows, I can add and use high a day, so now I can add with another 10 cents of risk. So I scaled, got up to 1R off of high a day, and then scaled through red, getting a bit more than 1R, and then just covering into the sped up price action. Goal was that gap fill down towards the 220 level. And then it flushed pretty fast, went from 250 right down to 215 in a couple minutes. So I reacted, started to flip long here, added and then scalped out of that long, but was just kind of a reactive trade. Did think it could get to 240 was the goal, but I just scalped out of the long for a 10-cent winner or so there. But just a little cherry on top. Buru, I traded this one a little bit. It wasn't a super high conviction trade. I do have a position overnight on it. But we ran from 10 cents, the recent breakout there of like 30 cents, gapped and ran to 80 cents. But today is that gapper day where every small cap trader is watching this thing. They see the daily, they see the gap, and everyone's wanting to trade it. I think this daily chart works. Yeah. So I like the 15-minute exhaustion volume off the open. I was not super eager to trade it right off the open. If it failed right away, no harm, no foul. Didn't really have much interest, but we gapped up and went parabolic. So now hard crack, lower highs. I had about a half of a risk versus highs, and then once we broke this 74s, I added and had a full 1R off of highs. So I was risking about 10 cents and then made, I don't know, 10 or 12 cents. So it was like a 1-to-1 trade into that speed up. It started to round over, and I was looking to get off desk. I didn't think it would go red. I felt like a flush would get absorbed, which it did. It did pull in a bit further than I expected, but this steady grind is exactly what I like to avoid when these names are still very green on the day and don't have any bag holders underwater. But this morning failed follow through there in the 74, 75 acted as key over here where it started to top out. Then we got this rounding action starting to roll over, and now it's looking like it's going to close below its open. So I put some on there right at market close and was risking versus high a day. In the event that this does gap up, I don't want to be in the uncomfortable situation like DFly where I'm a bit nervous. But if I do get a gap up, I have room to add and possibly move risk down to like the 75s. If we gap down, then I can move risk and look to short versus green to red or something like that. For EMA is still in the 40s, and this hasn't gone red yet, so I think that there is still plenty of meat on the bone. If it gaps down all the way into the 40s, I'll likely just cover it and just take the single. And then the big one of the day was ADAP. This one here was a monster trade. Was on the watch list and played out to a T. Wanted to see it break and build through those 16s. Must have had a PR or something this morning. I don't really care, but I saw some volume coming in, some trends starting to hit. So I bought some pulls into VWAP. We got a little flush off the open. I'm looking to accumulate dips for 16. But at this point on these entries, I'm risking versus this 13 prior low. So risking about 3 or 4 cents on it and was letting this weak open digest. Once it pulls, consolidates, reclaims VWAP, and then starts to break through the morning highs, then I add, move risk to low a day, let this trade work, pushes up into the breakout level. That's extended from the breakout level, so it's due for a pullback. Once we get a pullback into VWAP, I get up to about 2R risk off of low a day, and then I add into close once now we have confirmed the breakout, and I move risk right up here, which was basically my entry at that point, was about 17.5. So then I got up to an 18.5 entry with these adds, and then we started to speed up relative to prior price action there in after hours. This did just come from 14 and it's already at 30. That's more than 100% move off the lows. So I think it's responsible to start to lock in. I'm currently still overnight from an 18-cent average. So I'm not super worried. If this continues to hold these 22s tomorrow, I would consider adding to that position, as long as it doesn't fail back below these 17s. But this is a confirmed breakout at this point, and it has a decent history of day 2 gaps. So if this just gaps up and goes into that 30, 40, 50 range, I would just look to sell. On this day, it went from 15 and gap to 21, so about a 50% gap. So if this is closing around, 20... somewhere around here, 22-ish, a 50% gap would be up towards like 30s, mid 30s, 33. So if it does end up gapping 30 plus, I would just look to sell. But if we get an open around here, I could see using these 22s as a guide for a scale, but currently locked in about 5R on that one and still holding half that position. So really fruitful opportunity there, and we've been prepared for it for many weeks here on the watch list. So as far as that goes, ADAP will continue to be a main watch, and Buru will definitely be a main watch. Femi, contemplating this one. Volume's kind of dying off. It is pulling. This is another one of those dailies that isn't working for some reason. But big multi-day move, pulls back for a couple days. Further, it extends from those 70s. Could get a backside bounce. So if this were to get like an exhaustion gap to the downside, I could probably mean revert it back to 70 cents. But like I say, volume is drying up. It's not the most liquid thing. And it's super spready and choppy. So if volume continues to be like that, I've got no real interest in looking to trade that one. That one continues to fizzle. That one continues to fizzle. That one continues to fizzle. This one faded off something fierce today. So still have that double top in the 72s. PCSA, this one's way too choppy. No real interest in trading that one. BTOG is still holding up. Let me run through some FinViz scans and see if there's anything else. But I think between ADAP and Buru, I don't think I need much more for tomorrow. DGNX, Diginex. It's quite the move. Nobody in the chat? Nothing popping up on my chat here? Usually we got a few of the regulars in there saying what's up. SCWO? What is that? Here from IU, Abhishek, what's going on? Gallo, what's going on? Good to see you guys. Gus Bus, good old bench warmers. Wow, ACHR held that. Wow. That flush got absorbed real quick. Unfortunately, this is just a bit too volatile to play that 14 breakout, but if this can reclaim and get like one or two inside tight days up near those highs, it'd probably be worth a watch. But if it continues to be this volatile, I wouldn't be able to do much with it. Go back and see this again for ADAP. Nice, nice. Chris, Jeff, okay. Sometimes, maybe my mic's off or internet's going in and out or something, so never sure. But yeah, ADAP was definitely a really good opportunity, and multiple opportunities to scale into that winner, where you're not just having to risk 1R to make 2 or 3. You can pyramid into that, and I can be up 10R while still risking 1, just because I'm moving risk up and adding as the trade is working. But go back and watch, I don't know if it was yesterday or Monday, but the previous watch lists, I've had this one on watch from back over here looking for that 16 build. And if you were in IU this morning too, it was a main watch on the broadcast for a 16 build. SLNH, that one's starting to come back. Probably worth throwing that one on watch. Recent runner. Multi-day move, pulls back. Again, it's just a bit too volatile, but if we can maybe push, hold over 3 and then re-break. Excuse me. What else? What else? What else? GLDG went higher today. That was a gold name. And I will do a written portion of scan as well. I'll post it to Twitter and post it in IU. But I'm just from what I'm seeing so far, I think ADAP and Buru will be my two main watches, and just focus on those. Tisha for a breakout. Let's see. Not super volatile. I don't think this is a needle mover. I don't think it's an account mover. Most of its range was on a gap up. Yes, it had a bit of trend, but didn't really push much higher. And its history of big multi-day moves and volatility just isn't there. The difference of trading a breakout on this and trading a breakout on ADAP is this thing breaks out here of 10 cents and runs to 22. That's more than a 100% move, has a strong day, gaps up. So now this runs from 15 to 20 and then is already up at 30 in after hours. Like, it's already, the volatility and range on this is just far better. Like, there's just better areas to focus on. And these cheapies around that 90 cents, a dollar, sub-dollar. The stuff that's like $1 and under has been really hot in the recent markets. Like, you had like, oh, this freaking thing. These charts drive me nuts. DVLT was hot. NUAI was hot, going on big runs. DFly was hot, going on big runs. Now we've got ADAP going on big runs. You had Femi going on big runs. Buru going on big runs. So what's working in this market? You just have to take note. SLNH, sub $1. Just take note of what's working. And then try and do more of that. Oops, didn't mean to click that one. What I learned from you, and most important, is you mostly don't touch anything on the first day. Define your key and trade with those key levels. Thanks, I learned so much from you. That's 100%. That, in a sentence, that would summarize pretty much what I do. And it's on those day ones, you just have so many of them that break high a day, break low a day, and you get stopped out before the trade you're looking for actually plays out and works. And even like guys that short these gappers are risking 40%, 50%, 60% on their position to get a 1-to-1 trade. And yes, the win rate is super high. It's a profitable strategy, but that just doesn't fit well in my head, where I can get a 70, 80% win rate on other setups, but that have a better than 1-to-1 risk reward. I can get a 3-to-1, 5-to-1, 10-to-1. Like this ADAP, I think this is a super high odds 70% win rate strategy, and I can make 10-to-1 on it. So if I can win 70% of the time and make 10-to-1 on it, then why wouldn't I take this? And why would I focus on a bunch of the gappers today? I don't know. So I have a lot more confidence. I didn't trade ADAP over here, but now I've got weeks of key levels, important volume points, pivot points, new traders. Like, there's so much more information that I have than just looking to trade this day. So 100%. I think it's an easier way to trade. It is for me, whether it is for you or not. Obviously, it sounds like it works for you, but I just kind of share what's been working for me, and then hopefully, yeah, others can take some points from it. But I appreciate the positive feedback. I appreciate any feedback. Always looking to get better. Feel free to tell Nate that what I'm sharing is helpful, because then he can encourage me to get on broadcast more, get on Sunday Scan more, and on all that sort of thing. Quick question: anything you can tell what happened in small cap once stock market bubble bursts? Still, we get good moves in small caps. Yeah, it's fewer and far between. It's what happens in bubbles is you just get a higher frequency of trades, but the setups are still there. Just because setups are based on traders' emotion, especially what I'm trading. So it's just an aggregate of every trader in the market, and that's where price and volume discovery comes from. But as people start to lose money, that amount of money that they can put at risk, that I call it the maximum dollar block, is what Dux calls it. That maximum dollar block, the amount of money that retail has to put into the market, when they start losing money as the market pulls back, they don't have as much money to deploy, so stocks don't have as much volatility, and the patterns don't play out as frequently. So where I'm getting, I don't know, probably 3 to 5 trades a week at this point, maybe goes down to 0 to 1 in a slower time. Stuff like back in 2022 when the markets were pulling back, there'd be small cap pockets. You'd have to wait for sector momentum and that sort of thing. But markets like this, you just kind of be a bit more patient. Those swing setups don't work as well in the large cap space as well. So that's kind of how I would view it, but I don't really worry about it too much. Markets will push, pull, consolidate, choose their next direction. In the last however many decades, it's always been up. So I'm not super concerned about when or if or how bad it is. I just have faith that it comes out on the other side. What is these doing? I see BLDP, which is a sympathy to these. BLDP looks the best. It's holding up. That little sector's been going. That used to be a really good sector. F-Cell Plug and Ballard Power. They were a great sector to trade years ago. They were super clean, and you'd get like one of them would take control in a day, would be the leader that day, and you'd have like 5 to 10 seconds to trade the sympathies. There was like laggard plays where you could just scalp 5, 10, 15 cents off of them. Wow, AMD is on a tear. That's wild. NXL looks like a percent gainer there today. So far, not seeing a ton else. Lots of charts running, but like we went over there briefly, not a ton of those daily chart patterns. Blooms. Decent little trend there today. That daily is starting to come up into resistance. It's probably worth, yeah, that's probably worth putting on watch. It never has multi-day runs, so if this can push up, top out, consolidate, and re-break, be worth throwing that one on watch. Another one of those cheapy names. Yeah, SLNH is an alright look. Pally is a choppy SOB. Looked okay over here, took a loss on it, and then it comes right back. Just so damn choppy. See a ton of volume on Arab. Boring. What did YYAI do? That was a China scam yesterday. Gapped and failed today. Got smoked. RKDA, I remember trading that one years ago. Funny Funny, funny. Start recognizing names. Oops. Only 40 names on my fader scan. Next to nothing is pulling back today. That's hilarious. RVSN. What's that thing? OPAD finally rolled over. Wow, that took so long. But there you go. Pulls back 390s. Right here. 390s acts as a top over under for an hour. Loses its bid. Leaning all pops versus those highs. Get rewarded with a fader. What did open do today? Oh, it got whacked. Wow. This thing is a choppy thing too. No problem ignoring that thing. I don't even think it's just China stocks getting chased around. Well, it is, but it's not just those. Like if you look at a percent gainers scan, everything is getting chased around. People are buying anything and getting rewarded with them going up. But you get one China name go crazy, and then people start looking for the next one. But people are there's just a lot of demand right now. Markets are at all-time highs, Bitcoin's at highs, gold's at highs. People just got a lot of money. Ever thought that all we had to do was just buy a blue chip and don't look? Some of these just fake me out and then they just continue to grind up. I got a separate account that I do that in. Yeah, I buy stuff, Apple, banks, SPY, tech stocks. Yeah, I've got a blue chip and dividend account that I just buy in every few months, every year, and just keep adding to it. Because yeah, it seems a lot easier sometimes. What stocks do you have in my IRA? I'd have to look it up. I know I've got a ton. I might be able to look. We don't have IRAs here. We have a TFSA or an RRSP, a tax-free savings account, or a registered retirement savings plan. And that's what we use. I've got Verizon, United Health, S&P 500, Goldman Sachs, Canadian Imperial Bank, Bank of America, and Apple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stocks. And I've got about 99.2% invested. There's not a ton of cash in there right now. But yeah, I just continue to buy that. I'd like to maybe own Home Depot at some point. I use this almost daily. I remember like years ago, like back here, when I was younger, I had about 10 grand saved somewhere back here from working. My dad had told me to just buy Home Depot. Never did it. We were looking at Netflix at $40 way back here. Never bought it. But yeah, stuff like Starbucks, a bunch of them just closed their stores around me. I don't know if that's the same in the States, but here in Vancouver, they've closed a bunch of stores. McDonald's, I love McDonald's. Coca-Cola owns a bunch of stuff. I don't know, like some consumer stuff. I feel like it's hated on that these brick and mortar stores that everyone thinks it's going online, and I feel like they're a bit underappreciated, those companies. Meta, Microsoft, Costco. I think Costco's great. There's just a bunch of these names that like this hasn't participated in the rally since that Trump scare, it hasn't participated. So I feel like when the market pulls back, I could probably get a decent deal on Costco. Apple didn't push. Oh, it's pushed now. It took a while. It pulled back and was consolidating for quite a while. Um, I know I was shorting Microsoft all through here, I think. Yeah, I was shorting it like all through here. This one's not really participating. But I think there's just a bunch of names. It's just everything's a bit inflated. So I'm just continuing to stack cash. I haven't bought stocks in my long-term stuff for quite a while. I think I think the last time I bought them was in this April pullback, was like months ago, 6 months ago or so. I was buying fairly heavy in S&P and Apple during this pullback here. I got like a 4 or a 520 ish average on S&P in that recent correction, but since then I haven't really bought anything. No, I don't own any Tesla. I don't really like Tesla. I think it's more of a hype, like day trader haven, than a investment I would like to keep in an account. Personally, maybe too long-winded, but what exactly is the thesis in T+1 trades? It's looking for traders and basically shorts to, like, the T+1 is like the buy-in period. So everyone who's short, if they're holding overnight and so if they lent out, I don't know, it traded, this one for example, traded 200 million shares, and then this day traded 6 million. And roughly, like Duck says, about 90% of the volume is long. So if you had 200 million traded here and they loaned out, call it 20 million shares, and then this day there's only 6 million volume, those 20 million shares can't cover here. And then there's a buy-in period, T+1, if you continue to hold, if you don't have cash in the account, etc. If they want to call in their loans, then they can force buy-ins. So if the volume dries up in a quick manner and then price continues to hold up, the broker clearing firm can buy you in that T+1 cash settlement. CCCX. It seems a bit illiquid and choppy to me, just the way it trades. You could make a case for it. 13s hasn't gone up 100%. First time it goes red, maybe you get a pullback. But even over here where it starts to run, goes red and just can't pull. Did get a pretty nice top there, pulled back fairly hard. Yeah, like if like $20 acted as resistance again tomorrow and then went red maybe. But I just, it's not up 100%, and it trades a bit too thin for my liking. Coke isn't going away. Blue chips are a good investment. Yeah. Yep. I think that's about it for my scans, though. I don't really have much. I threw BLMZ on there. I won't buy it tomorrow, but if I can push up, consolidate, and reject off those 30s, and then re-break out down the line. SLNH, same kind of thing. If it breaks out tomorrow, I can't buy it, but if it tops out there, consolidates, re-breaks out, maybe worth a watch. Same thing with Acher. That 14 break is pretty nice on like a multi-month time frame, but it's just too volatile right now. Needs some tightness. Buru will be a main watch for pops towards like 70 cents. And then ADAP could scale versus like this 22 breakout. If it just gaps, would sell. If I get a weak open, look to buy and get a red to green. I think it favors a gap personally, but I'll have those two main watches, ADAP and Buru, and then the other one's just kind of patient for setups on them. So thank you guys for the chit chat. Appreciate the conversation. Thanks for tuning into my watch list. I hope I added some value to your evening. Trade them well tomorrow, guys. I will see some of you in IU. and I will see the rest of you on the next watch list. Peace.